Let me tell you a quiet truth. Most people learn too late. Life doesn't break people because they are weak. It breaks them because they react too fast to moments that require patience and too loudly to situations that demand calm. The strongest people you admire didn't win by force. They didn't win by noise. They didn't win by rushing the process. When pressure came, they stayed strong. When chaos surrounded them, they stayed calm. And when results were delayed, they stayed patient. And not randomly too, in this exact order. Be strong, be calm, be patient. Master these three and life stops overwhelming you and starts shaping you. Most people think strength announces itself. They believe it enters the room early, speaks first, and makes sure everyone notices. But real strength arrives quietly and sits comfortably without needing approval. It doesn't rush to explain itself or defend every thought. It knows that urgency is often insecurity wearing confidence as a mask. When you stop trying to convince the world of who you are, something settles inside you. You realize that strength is not about how fast you respond, but how deeply you understand what deserves a response at all. There are moments when your heart wants to speak immediately, when words are boiling, when silence feels uncomfortable, when not reacting feels like losing. But that discomfort is where strength lives. Weakness wants relief right now. Strength is willing to feel the tension without releasing it through noise. Think of a tightly held arrow. It doesn't look powerful while it's still, but that stillness is exactly what gives it direction. The moment you let go too early, it loses its purpose and falls short. When someone challenges you, ignores you, or misunderstands you, your first impulse is often to correct, to argue, to prove. But strength pauses and asks a better question. What happens if I don't explain myself today? Not every misunderstanding needs clarity. Not every accusation needs a reply. Some things lose their power simply because you refuse to feed them. Silence, when chosen consciously, is not surrender. It is restraint. And restraint is one of the highest forms of power a human being can develop. Look closely at people who feel drained all the time. They are not tired because life is hard. They are tired because they fight every small battle. They react to every tone, every message, every opinion. Their energy leaks in tiny arguments that never move their life forward. Strength is learning to protect your energy the way you protect something valuable. You don't leave gold on the street. You don't open your door to everyone who knocks. You don't give your inner fire to people who only want to watch it burn. There is a deep confidence that grows when you stop proving and start becoming. You notice that the loudest person in the room is rarely the most secure. Noise is often a shield for fear. Strength doesn't need shields. It stands exposed and unbothered. It understands that respect earned quietly lasts longer than attention demanded loudly. When you trust yourself, you don't chase validation. You move steadily, letting your actions speak in a language that doesn't need translation. Strength also knows when to walk away, not because it is scared, but because it is selective. Walking away is not losing. It is choosing not to bleed where healing is impossible. Some conversations are traps. Some arguments are loops. Some people don't want understanding, they want control. Strength recognizes patterns early. It doesn't wait for damage before creating distance. It leaves with dignity, carrying peace instead of pride, knowing that inner balance is worth more than temporary victory. Over time, this quiet strength changes how you experience life. Situations that once pulled reactions out of you now pass like weather. You observe them, learn from them, and let them move on. You stop feeling the need to respond immediately because you trust your ability to respond wisely later. And in that space between stimulus and response, you begin to meet a version of yourself that feels grounded, steady, and unshakable. Not because the world became softer, but because you stopped letting it shake your center. Most people think calm means the absence of trouble. They believe calm shows up only when life finally behaves, when people cooperate, when answers arrive on time. But calm is not something life gives you. Calm is something you choose, especially when life refuses to cooperate. It is the decision to keep your inner world steady even while the outer world shakes. That choice is subtle, almost invisible, but it changes everything because once your mind settles, your vision sharpens. When the mind is restless, it multiplies problems. A small delay turns into a disaster. A single comment becomes a personal attack. The mind starts racing ahead, imagining endings that haven't happened and suffering through futures that don't exist. Calm brings you back to what is real and present. It pulls your attention out of the noise and places it right where your feet are. From that place, problems shrink to their true size and you stop giving them power they never earned. There is a reason people say emotions cloud judgment. Strong feelings are like fog on a windshield. You can still move forward, but you can't see clearly, and that's when accidents happen. Calm does not erase emotion, it creates space around it. In that space, you can feel anger without becoming it, fear without obeying it, pressure without breaking under it. Calm lets you hold emotion gently, instead of letting it grab the steering wheel of your life. You may notice that the world tries to rush you into reactions. Messages demand instant replies. Situations demand instant decisions. People expect instant explanations. Calm refuses to be rushed. It understands that speed is useful for machines, not for wisdom. When you slow down inside, even by a small amount, you gain something rare, the ability to choose instead of react. That pause, even if it lasts only a few seconds, can save you from months of regret. Calm also changes how others experience you. People can sense it. They feel safer around it. They listen more closely. A calm presence lowers tension in rooms without saying a word. It disarms conflict not by force, but by steadiness. When you stay calm, you stop escalating situations that were never meant to grow. You become someone who absorbs chaos instead of spreading it. Someone who brings clarity where confusion usually wins. Inside you, calm becomes a quiet home you can return to. No matter how loud the day gets, you know there is a place within you that is untouched. That place is not numb or disconnected. It is awake and aware. From there, you can respond with intelligence rather than impulse. You begin to trust yourself more because you see that you don't fall apart under pressure anymore. You bend, adjust, and remain intact. Over time, calm reshapes your relationship with life itself. You stop feeling like everything is urgent and start recognizing what truly matters. You realize that many things that once stole your peace were never worth it. Calm teaches you that clarity is more valuable than control, and inner stability is more powerful than outer success. The more you practice calm, the more it becomes your natural state, not because life became easier, but because you learned how to meet it with a steady mind and an open heart. The third key point is patience, and most people misunderstand it from the very beginning. They think patience is standing still, waiting for life to finally be kind, waiting for a sign, waiting for motivation to return. But patience is not passive. It is active belief in motion. It is waking up every day and doing what you can, even when nothing around you confirms that it is working. Patience is trusting the process. Before the process proves itself to you, there will be seasons when your effort feels invisible. You work, you try, you show up, but the world stays quiet. No applause, no validation, no clear results. This is where impatience starts whispering lies. It says you are wasting time. It says others are moving faster. It says you should quit or change direction immediately. Patience is the strength to hear those voices and still continue, knowing that growth often happens in places you cannot measure yet. Think about how much in life happens slowly, without announcing itself. Confidence builds quietly. Character forms in silence. Skills sharpen through repetition, not excitement. But the human mind loves quick rewards. It wants proof now. It wants progress to look dramatic. Patience understands that real progress is often boring to watch but powerful to live. It stays loyal to the long road while others keep switching paths, exhausted by their own urgency. Patience also teaches you timing. Not everything that looks like an opportunity is meant to be taken immediately. Not every door is meant to be forced open. Some things need maturity before they can be handled well. Patience keeps you from entering rooms you are not ready for and protects you from success that could damage you if it arrives too early. What feels like delay may actually be preparation in disguise. There are moments when impatience wears the mask of ambition. It tells you to hurry, to compare, to rush your becoming. But patience reminds you that your journey is not late just because it doesn't match someone else's timeline. You are not behind, you are being shaped. Every lesson you learn now saves you from pain you would face later without this growth. Patience lets life teach you fully instead of briefly. Patience also strengthens your relationship with yourself. You stop fighting your own pace. You stop judging yourself for not being finished yet. You begin to respect the version of you that is still learning. Instead of self-criticism, patience brings self-trust. Says, I am improving, even if today looks ordinary. That belief becomes a quiet fuel that keeps you consistent when motivation fades. As patience deepens, you start to feel less desperate for outcomes and more committed to effort. You stop asking, when will it happen? And start asking, am I showing up well today? That shift changes everything. Life responds differently to people who are steady, grounded, and faithful to the process. Patience aligns you with a rhythm that is slower than fear but faster than regret. And in that rhythm, things begin to unfold in their own time with a strength and stability that rushing could never create. The fourth key point is understanding that strength without calm can slowly turn against you. Strength gives you energy, drive, and force, but without calm, that force has no direction. It's like pressing the gas pedal with no hands on the steering wheel. You move fast, but you don't move wisely. Many people are strong in effort yet exhausted in life because their strength is always fighting something. They push, resist, argue, and prove, but never pause to ask where all that force is actually taking them. When calm is missing, strength becomes sharp. It cuts instead of builds. You may notice it in how quickly irritation rises, how easily frustration spills into words you didn't plan to say. You feel powerful in the moment, but afterward there's damage, strained relationships, regret, and a quiet sense that something went wrong. This is not because you lack discipline or intention. It's because strength alone cannot guide itself. Calm is what softens strength just enough to make it useful instead of harmful. Think about fire. Fire can warm a home or burn it down. The difference is not the fire itself, but the container around it. Calm is the container for your strength. Without it, your effort leaks everywhere. You work hard but feel scattered. You care deeply but react harshly. You want to protect what matters, but you end up hurting it. Calm doesn't reduce your strength, it refines it. It turns raw force into focus power. There are moments when life pushes back hard, when resistance feels personal. In those moments, strength wants to fight harder, speak louder, move faster. Calm steps in and says, slow down, look again. That pause is not weakness, it is intelligence. Calm allows you to see what the real problem is instead of swinging at everything that feels threatening. Many battles are lost not because of lack of strength, but because strength was used in the wrong direction. Without calm, strength also burns you from the inside. You stay tense even when nothing is happening. Your body is present, but your mind is always braced for impact. Over time, this constant pressure turns into stress, then exhaustion. You may still look strong to others, but inside you feel worn down. Calm gives your strength a place to rest. It teaches you when to engage and when to step back, so your energy lasts longer than a single moment of effort. Calm also changes how your strength is received by others. When strength comes without calm, people feel attacked, even if that was never your intention. When calm supports strength, people feel guided, protected, and respected. Your words land differently. Your presence steadies the room instead of tightening it. You don't have to dominate to be influential. Calm allows your strength to communicate without force, and that kind of power lasts. As calm and strength begin to work together, you notice a shift inside yourself. You no longer feel the need to prove how strong you are. You trust it. You can hold firm opinions without becoming rigid. You can stand your ground without raising your voice. Strength becomes quieter but deeper. It stops being something you perform and starts becoming something you live moment by moment, with control, awareness, and balance guiding every step. The fifth key point is realizing that calm without patience quietly turns into fear. At first, it looks peaceful on the surface. You stay composed, you don't react. You tell yourself you are being mature. But deep inside, there is hesitation, and hesitation that stays too long begins to harden into fear. Calm becomes a hiding place instead of a grounding force. You are not centered, you are stuck, watching life move while you remain on pause. There is a thin line between thoughtful waiting and silent avoidance. Patience crosses that line with intention. Fear pretends to be wise while it keeps you from moving. It tells you to wait for the perfect moment, the perfect confidence, the perfect conditions. But perfection never arrives. Without patience to support calm, time slips by and choices become heavier. What once felt like balance starts to feel like regret, forming slowly, quietly. Calm without patience often shows up as overthinking. You analyze every step until movement feels dangerous. You imagine risks in places that require faith. Your mind stays busy, but your life stays still. Patience breaks that pattern. It doesn't rush you, but it nudges you forward. It says, move slowly if you must, but move. Fear wants certainty before action. Patience allows action to create certainty over time. There are dreams that die not because they were impossible, but because they waited too long for permission. Calm kept them quiet, fear kept them contained. Patience would have given them breath. Patience understands that readiness grows through experience, not before it. You don't become confident and then act. You act with patience, and confidence follows in small, steady steps. Without patience, calm becomes fragile. One unexpected challenge and it collapses. You thought you were steady, but you were only inactive. Patience strengthens calm by giving it direction. It transforms waiting into preparation. Even when progress is slow, patience keeps you engaged with life instead of withdrawn from it. It turns calm into a state of readiness rather than retreat. Patience also teaches courage in quiet ways. Not loud courage, not dramatic courage. The courage to begin before you feel fully prepared. The courage to continue when results are uncertain. Fear avoids discomfort. Patience accepts it. It understands that discomfort is not a sign of danger, but of growth. When calm is paired with patience, you can face uncertainty without freezing inside it. As patience settles into calm, something shifts. You stop mistaking stillness for safety. You learn to move with awareness instead of hesitation. Calm stays present, steady, and clear. Patience adds motion, faith, and resilience. Together, they allow you to step forward without panic and without delay, guided not by fear of failure, but by trust in your ability to grow through whatever comes next. The sixth key point is understanding that life tests you in a very specific order, even when it feels random. First, it tests your strength, not when you are ready, but when you are already tired. It puts weight on your shoulders when you least expect it and watches how you carry it. Not to punish you, but to reveal how much you rely on reactions instead of resolve. In those moments, life is asking quietly, will you collapse, or will you hold yourself together without becoming hard? Strength is not proven when everything is going well. It is revealed when pressure arrives uninvited. Once strength is tested, life moves to the next lesson. It introduces confusion, mixed signals, delays that make no sense, situations where effort does not immediately lead to results. This is where calm is examined. Life watches how quickly your mind jumps to conclusions, how fast panic replaces clarity. Calm is not tested in silence, It is tested in noise. When opinions surround you, when outcomes are uncertain, when answers are incomplete, life is asking, can you stay steady even when you don't understand what is happening yet? Many people fail here, not because they are incapable, but because they demand certainty too early. They want clarity before commitment. They want guarantees before trust. But calm is not built on guarantees. It is built on inner balance. When you stay calm in confusion, you allow insight to arrive naturally. You stop forcing solutions and start seeing them. Life is teaching you that clarity is a reward for patience, not a requirement for movement. Then comes the hardest test, patience. This is where time stretches, progress slows, results take longer than expected. Life deliberately removes urgency and replaces it with waiting. Not empty waiting, but purposeful waiting. This is where impatience grows restless and self-doubt begins whispering. Life is asking, will you stay committed even when the timeline changes? Because consistency without excitement is the real measure of belief. Most people think failing these tests means they are not good enough. That belief is the real failure. Life is not testing you to eliminate you. It is testing you to refine you. When you react too fast, you repeat the lesson. When you panic, the situation stays longer. When you quit early, the same challenge returns in a different form. Life is persistent, not cruel. It keeps teaching until the lesson is learned. You may notice patterns in your life that seem frustratingly familiar. The same emotional triggers, the same type of setbacks, the same inner struggles. This is not bad luck. This is unfinished learning. Strength, calm, and patience are not traits you earn once. They are skills you develop layer by layer. Each test adds depth. Each repetition builds awareness. Life is not moving in circles, it is moving in spirals, revisiting lessons at a higher level each time. When you begin to see life this way, something softens inside you. You stop taking challenges personally. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me now? That shift changes how you respond. Strength becomes intentional. Calm becomes natural. Patience becomes steady. And without realizing it, you begin passing tests that once overwhelmed you. Not because life got easier, but because you grew into someone who could carry more without breaking. The seventh key point is realizing how winners act. You only live, and it is nothing like most people imagine. Winners do not sprint through life chasing every opportunity as if speed alone will define their success. They do not react to every message, every challenge, every opinion that comes their way. Their power is not in doing more or shouting louder. It is in being selective, intentional, and deliberate with every action, word, and thought. They have learned that life does not reward reaction. It rewards mastery over self. Winners understand that showing up is not enough. It must be the right kind of showing up. They do not let the noise of the world dictate their priorities. They conserve their energy for the moments that truly matter. While others expend themselves on drama, comparison, and urgency, winners focus quietly on the long game. They understand that consistency is the bridge between potential and accomplishment, and it is built quietly, step by step, day by day. Their strength is visible, but it is tempered by calm. They do not need to prove it to anyone. In conversations, in conflicts, in setbacks, they remain steady. This calm is not indifference, it is clarity. It is knowing what deserves their energy and what does not. They understand that reacting to every disturbance is a trap, and choosing silence over unnecessary action often moves them further than force ever could. Strength without calm is loud, strength with calm is magnetic. Patience is the thread that weaves all of this together. Winners are not hurried by timelines or influenced by the impatience of others. They understand that life unfolds in rhythms beyond human control. They act when the moment is right, not when fear whispers, act now or lose it all. They stay faithful to their vision. even when results are invisible, trusting that what is nurtured steadily and intentionally eventually bears fruit. Impatience can destroy momentum, but patience protects it. Winners also embrace failure differently. They do not see it as a permanent label, but as a signal, a lesson, a necessary step in the journey. When others despair or quit, winners extract insight. When a setback arrives, they do not panic, they observe. They ask, what am I missing? Where can I adjust? Failure becomes a guide, not a judge. And because they approach life this way, challenges that would paralyze most people become opportunities for growth that are quietly transformative. The world often measures winners by accolades, visibility, or applause, but those are shallow metrics. True winners are measured by the way they move through adversity, the steadiness of their inner world, and the loyalty they maintain to their own values. They are not dependent on recognition to validate their efforts. They take action because it aligns with purpose, not popularity. Their lives feel calm on the outside because they are cultivated carefully on the inside. The peace they carry is not luck, it is discipline perfected over time. What is most remarkable is how this approach transforms ordinary days into extraordinary life. Every choice, every response, every moment becomes intentional. They do not wait for conditions to be perfect, they create excellence within themselves first. The world may remain chaotic, unpredictable, and loud, but winners navigate it with a quiet authority that does not need witnesses. They move through life with clarity, confidence, and trust, knowing that mastering themselves is the truest victory, and everything else is merely a reflection of that inner strength. And so, if you take nothing else from this, remember this: life will continue to test you, challenge you, and ask more of you than you sometimes feel ready to give. But there is a way to move through it that does not exhaust you, that does not pull you apart, that does not leave you questioning your own worth. Strength, calm, and patience are not just tools, they are the rhythm of a life lived fully, steadily, and with quiet confidence. When these three live in you, nothing outside can shake the foundation you are building. You will stumble. You will face moments that feel heavier than you imagined. And yet, in those moments, there is clarity waiting for you. A clarity that comes when you refuse to react out of fear, when you refuse to chase what isn't meant for you yet, when you trust yourself enough to wait and act wisely. Life does not demand perfection, it demands presence. It rewards those who show up with awareness, even when the world seems unfair, even when progress is slow, even when results hide in silence. There is a quiet strength in knowing that what matters most is not how fast you move, how loud you appear, or how much you accomplish in a day. What matters is how steady you remain in the face of pressure, how clear your mind stays in the face of confusion, and how faithful your heart remains to the process that is shaping you. Each moment you respond with this steadiness, you are not simply surviving, you are becoming someone who cannot be undone by circumstances. And over time, these small choices, the patience to wait, the calm to observe, the strength to endure, begin to compound. They create a life where challenges no longer feel like threats, where setbacks are simply lessons, and where your own presence becomes a quiet source of power and guidance, first for yourself, then for the world around you. Step into that understanding and carry it with you. Let it settle into the way you breathe, the way you think, the way you respond. Trust that the patience you cultivate, the calm you practice, and the strength you hold are not just fleeting states. They are the architecture of a life lived with clarity, depth, and quiet mastery. And when you move forward, know this: nothing outside can define you, disturb you, or diminish you unless you allow it. The space within you, steady, aware, patient, is where your true power resides. Life will continue to shift, but you do not need to chase it. You do not need to prove anything. You simply need to remain present, deliberate, and unwavering. And in that presence, everything else will fall into place in its own time. Carry that with you, quietly, fully, without rush or noise. Let it guide you in each moment, in each decision, in each challenge, until it becomes so natural that even when the world changes around you, you remain unshaken. In this steadiness, in this clarity, you will find not just success but something far deeper. A life lived with purpose, integrity, and the unshakable confidence that comes from mastering yourself first.